Yes, this is a new levy for THPRD. THPRD has actually not had an operating levy since the 1990s when Measure 50 went into place in Oregon and established permanent operating rates for the 1,400 local governments in Oregon. So many public agencies today rely on levies. When we passed Measure 50 as Oregonians back in the late 90s, the direction from this state was to rely on your permanent operating rate. And if that permanent operating rate was not able to keep up with an operational expense of a public agency, then public agencies were advised to consider going to the voters to consider funding local option levies. And it really is a measure of control and giving control to voters in local government to decide what level they want to invest in local governments. The levy will fund a myriad of operational services here at THPRD. So what does that mean? Operations are literally what it takes to operate the district year over year. Operational funding pays for the staff, the professionals who take care of our parks, who take care of our trails, who take care of our natural areas, and provide the service and the oversight to make those spaces safe and enjoyable for all of us. Operational funding pays for all of the professionals working in our recreation and aquatic centers that provide the summer camps, that provide the aquatics instruction, the dance instruction, the sports instruction, and run the district's recreation and aquatic centers. So operational funds can also be used to pay for the materials and services that are needed for the district. Think we have a power bill to pay, we have a water bill to pay, we have materials and services to purchase to operate the district, and that is what an operational fund pays for. It does not pay for purchasing new property or redeveloping park sites. These are not those funds. These are literally the operating funds that allow us to provide a service and the properties to the community year over year. Yes. How will taxes be affected? So this is a new operating levy that THPRD is asking for. They are asking voters to consider funding 50 cents per thousand in assessed value for 5 years. What does that mean? That means for a piece of property, for every $1,000 in assessed value, people will pay 50 cents per thousand on that property. The average assessed value in the district is $303,000, and this translates to the average property owner of an additional tax increase of about $152 a year or $12.68 per month. If the levy fails, it will be up to the board of directors to decide what to do next. We have an elected board of directors. They've been looking at the levy issue and the shortfall funding issue very closely for the last 2 years. Our board of directors has indicated that they're very optimistic about our opportunity to connect with voters in May of 2024, but they've also expressed deep concerns about the impact to district operations if the levy is not successful. They have indicated in their public open board meetings that they would be likely to want to reframe and take consideration about going back to the voters to consider a levy again. So it would be, if the vote were close, it's highly likely THPRD would be going back out to the voters if we were unsuccessful at a upcoming election and trying again. I will say, as a communications professional working in this field, it is not unusual to see government agencies who fail the first time go back to the voters the second time. Sometimes you've built a platform in your public information efforts, and local governments may be more successful the second time because they've just had the opportunity to build greater awareness of the issue and had more opportunity to connect with voters and allow them to consider the issues. So all things considered, what THPRD most likely would do is to go back to the voters and try again. And we would also be monitoring our budget closely and trying to figure out how we can avoid as many cuts as possible for the first year or so while we wait the outcome of a potential second election. The local option levy is scheduled to be a 5-year levy. Tax collection would begin this year in 2024 if the levy is approved by the voters in May. And one question that I often get is, will THPRD go out in 5 years again when the levy expires? And my answer is most likely yes, absolutely. Most government agencies, once they establish a operating levy, tend to go back out on that same cycle. So every 5 years to ask for either a continuation or an increase of that operating levy. I don't have a magic ball that can tell me exactly what will happen, but I can tell you that our discussions in the task force at the board of directors, from our CFO, our chief financial officer here at the district, we have structured our forecasting to assume that we will go back out in 5 years and ask for a renewal at the same rate. That is our goal at this time, that it would be a second 5-year local option levy at 50 cents per thousand. But that would be determined in the future. If you want more information about how to participate in the election, please visit Washington County's elections website. You can Google Washington County elections and get to the elections website. Really important to know and flag these dates. April 30th is the last day for voters to register to vote and make it into be eligible to vote in the May election. May 1st is when the ballots will be mailed to all registered voters, and the election day is May 21st. So you'll want to get that ballot in the mail by May 21. Remember, we've changed the law here in Oregon, so postage is paid for. You don't have to put a stamp on it to get it mailed, but you do want to get it in a blue box in one of the drop boxes throughout the community. You can find those sites at Washington County Elections website. We do have an elections drop box at the Garden Home Library, which is associated with the Garden Home Recreation Center, and you can visit that site and drop your ballots there as well. Again, election day is May 21st. So register to vote by April 30th and get your ballot in by May 21 if you want to participate in this election. One of the most frequent questions I get out there is, how do I know if I can vote in this election? You have a couple of different options. First and foremost, you can always visit our website, www.thprd.org. If you go to the search bar, you can search in district, and we have an address search tool on our website that allows you to plug in your address, and it will let you know if you are in district or out of district. If it says you're in district, that means you live within THPRD's territorial boundaries, our service boundaries. And if you meet the criteria to be eligible to vote, you could vote on this election. If you live out of district, you can't vote in the election. You have to live in the THPRD service area. Now, remember, if you want to sign up, if you're not registered to vote, please go to Washington County Elections and you can sign up there. The last day to get registered to vote is April 30th to be able to vote in the May election.